Mr. Fix's weekly science update for the week of August 19th. Alright, so Monday we finished the scavenger hunt and we put it on page 1 of the reference notebook. So there's a link to the reference notebook. So here's page 1. So they worked together to find where in the room these items were, and they marked it on their map as a way to kind of see if they need an emergency pencil, or if they need to know how to ask to use the restroom, how to get headphones, how to ask for a Chromebook if they're forgot one or something like that. So a little bit of classroom locations and procedures in that activity. All right, science safety on page 2 of the reference notebook and page 3. So the purpose of these science safety rules is to reduce the risk of an accident, because accidents can lead to breakages and damages of equipment and can also lead to personal injury. And so these rules are for that purpose. So we have stuff in the science classroom we don't have in any other classroom at school, and so that's why we need to pay close attention to these rules, is because of that purpose. So that's page 2 and 3 of the reference notebook, and they took a survey on Tuesday, a school-wide survey at the beginning of the period on the Chromebook. And we finished the science safety agreement on page 2 and 3 of the reference notebook. And then we looked at collaboration. We discussed what collaboration is, what it looks like, what it sounds like. And then based on that, we looked at the norms of collaboration on page 4 and 5 of the reference notebook. So again, they put this in the reference notebook, we glued it in. So researchers have discovered that successful groups that collaborate, all the members do these 7 things in common. They pause, they paraphrase, they pose questions, they put ideas on the table, provide data, pay attention to self and others, and presume positive intentions of each other. And so we're going to be using these all year in our collaborative groups when we do lab activities in science to increase the likelihood of a group doing well. And we're going to chart the progress of our skills and these norms throughout the year. And then I gave them on page 6 and 7 on the reference notebook. Whoops, let me go back here. So science writing and talking sentence starters. So this is how or what they can say that will utilize some of these norms. So some of these norms might fit the paraphrasing, might fit the posing questions, might fit the providing data norm. So these are tools they can use in their groups. They look at the reference notebook as they do science in class. All right, so that was Wednesday. Then on the end of period Wednesday, we did an activity called Obsertainer. So Obsertainer is, all right, so the Obsertainer is this object right here. And so I gave students a chance to record observations in their doing science notebook. Things like maybe the color of the Obsertainer, the shape of the Obsertainer, maybe the texture, what it sounds like when it moves. And so students recorded those observations and share them in the group, or share them with class also. And then what we did is I had them think of, okay, what's the obvious question that arises from your observations? And so the obvious question was, well, what does it look like inside? And so then they made more careful observations and made another prediction to adjust their thinking. And then I showed them what it looked like inside, and they compared their predictions to the results. And so this is a good example of how science actually works. We had a phenomenon, something that we observed that makes us go, huh? Well, what's going on there? And then we modeled our thinking about what was going on in there, what we think was going on there, what causes things to go on in there. And then we kind of make more observations and change our model and so forth. And so that was the activity Obsertainer. All right, so we finished that up on Thursday. I collected homeschool connection number 1, so that was the homework I gave. I passed out on Monday, and this is a learning activity, and I grade it in terms of effort. I want to see that they gave their best effort, and how I grade on effort is, do they meet the requirements? So for this question, they had to write 2 sentences minimum, 2 complete sentences minimum. Same thing with this one, and they actually had to do the challenge that was required. So if they met all the requirements in the the minimal requirements, and they got full credit. If they didn't, then they got less credit. So that's how I graded. I collected it on Thursday, and then I passed it back on Friday and went over it and showed again how I graded it and how they can prove their score and resubmit it. All right, then we did a pre-test that to activate their knowledge about heat transfer, the concept of heat transfer. I introduced them about saving the penguins. So we have to, basically in this unit, we're trying to save the penguins. They have to build a shelter to save an ice cube penguin in class. So that's kind of the end goal of this unit. And then I introduced the soda can activity. So the soda can activity is, we're doing it in our Doing Science notebook. So the phenomena is, you go on a field trip and you must pack a lunch to take with you. You put a can of cold soda in your lunch bag in the morning, but when you open your lunch later that day, the soda can, or the soda was warm. So why? So our investigation question is, well, how do you keep the heat energy from the can surrounding from going into the can? So we started off with some heat transfer key terms, heat and thermal energy, and then we're setting up experiments. So they copied these steps down. So water's been placed in 6 soda cans. They have been in the refrigerator. They have the following materials wrapped around them: felt, foam, construction paper, plastic, aluminum foil, and nothing. And then they have to predict which material is best at preventing heat energy from getting into the can. In experiment time, they have to copy down the data table. So we have time in minutes, and then we have temperature of the can of water that's wrapped in paper, foam, felt, aluminum foil, plastic, and nothing. And then next week we're going to actually do it, and we're going to take a look at the data. So that's going to be in progress. So that's what we did this week, so I hope you have a good weekend. Bye-bye.